from a year ago, yeah?
Yeah. Oh, sorry, was that a question?
No, it's
was
just
it a real question?
Just an observation.
No, it felt great. I think, it was weird. It didn't feel like that long ago. It felt like we were just in there kind of yesterday. And, it was great to see their reactions. And I know everybody was just waiting for our name to be called. And I can't say enough about this team, though, and the way they kind of left that room a year ago and just went to work. So I'm just excited for them. They've earned every bit of this opportunity, and now that's what it is, an opportunity to keep going.
Were you expecting Arkansas? It seemed like that was the prevailing opinion. That's where you would get sent. Was that what you expected?
Honestly, I had no idea. I had no idea going into it. I think there were a handful of places that we could have gone, obviously, but just excited for these matchups and excited to play more softball at this time of year. I thought we had some really good competitive softball in our last couple weekends, and I'm excited for this team to keep going.
Does it give you any confidence knowing that you've already played at that ballpark this year? Does that give you your team any kind of ease knowing they've been there before, done that?
Well, we haven't played this year. We played last year, but
Sorry.
the majority of our players have played there once, and sometimes, in some instances with our older kids more than once. So it is nice to kind of know the environment, know the city. I know they're excited to go to Nuke's, the sandwich shop that's close to the field. So
Priorities.
It's just the familiarity is nice, just like when we go to conference places. So, they're just excited to play more softball, though.
How important is it to have that upperclassmen leadership that has been in a playoff atmosphere in a regional like that before going back to the super regionals in 2021?
I think the senior leadership is going to be huge as far as, just being in the postseason, all the way to the World Series where, there's thousands of people there. You can't hear your own thoughts, and they know what that feels like. I think also playing in a conference that we play in prepares us for that, prepares us for those big moments. And I'm so happy that we had the Pac-12 Tournament, for those instances, because that's something that we didn't have, that people don't think about 3 years ago, is we didn't have that competitive postseason atmosphere going into this weekend. So we had a 3-game series, and it was hyped, against one opponent, but not a full field. So that felt good to get under our belts too.
In terms of the Razorbacks, you played them 5 times in the last 2 seasons. One less game that you play against Pac-12 opponents. So is there any advantage of that, just playing that specific team so many times?
Well, we always love more information against opponents. Obviously, they're a great team. They pitch very well. They have a stacked bullpen, great hitters. So really, it's now about executing with the information that we already have, which is something that our girls get excited about. And Villanova, we're hammered in on Villanova right now. So I think we will think about Arkansas when we get a win, and we see how the field develops. But really, we are excited to get after a very good Villanova team that's playing well right now.
How do you match up against Villanova?
It's tricky because matchups are one thing, but I truly believe just when we're playing our best softball, it doesn't really matter who we are playing, and we're kind of staying true to ourselves. So they pitch very well. They have a lot of different looks in the bullpen. They hit a lot of doubles. They're a very good, well-coached team, and just excited to get out there and get after it. But I'm hoping more so you see our style of play this weekend more than anything else.
What do you think you learned about your team during the Pac-12 tournament that they can carry on to regionals?
They're fighters. They're gritty as heck. I think they're really just aggressive for those opportunities, and they wanted every piece of the big moments. I think you saw our hitters get after it, and it's funny because we are very steady when we warm up, and just the way they come out is just on fire and competitive and passionate, and it's just something that I really love about this team. They're ready to go when the bell rings.
A few years in now, how do you feel like you've kind of molded this team in your image, if any?
Well, I think you see kind of the players that we're bringing in, the players we're recruiting, and I think that our senior leadership has done a good job of taking them under their wing. But I just love, their stamp that they're putting on it every single day at practice. And when we go out and recruit, we recruit people that are going to leave their certain mark on a program. And I look at our young kids right now, our freshmen and our sophomore class, and they are just as much molding this program as the seniors are, and that's really cool to see, because they're setting a trend that's going to continue on for the future too.
Was that the case in your playing days? Were the underclassmen allowed to have that much say, or I don't know? that much influence on the team culture?
Honestly, your play talks more than I think you have to talk as a freshman and sophomore. I think you just come out and, you know, the way you handle your business every single day says enough about it. And then usually by junior and senior year, you feel more comfortable to use your voice. But, you know, I think our seniors especially have given the entire team a space to be able to be themselves and really just use their voices in their own special way. And I think that looks different from 1 to 21. So it says a lot about leadership when you can let people come in and be themselves as well.
When you look at your sophomore class, which could be considered one of the next great classes at Arizona, right? When you were putting it together, and you had put it together, did you have any idea that they would impact as much as they have so far? I mean, they're only 2 seasons in.
Well, I have to tell you something special about that class because they're the COVID class. They're a class that it was the first class that I did the commitments, but it was all over Zoom. So there were no official visits. I mean, they didn't come and tour campus. Dakota or Liv, I think Liv came on her own and walked around, and you know, they had been at camp prior, but they didn't get the experience here. And that's a lot of trust, you know, to pick the next, you know, the place you're going to go for the next 4 years and have that conversation with the coach on Zoom. And they're a special class to me for that reason, you know. And even I'll go further than that. When I was watching their games, we were watching their games on computer screens because we weren't allowed to be out at the field recruiting. So it's kind of mind-blowing that that's what we were living in back then. But I knew that they were special is what I'll say to that. I knew that they were competitors. I think they've exceeded my expectations as far as their work ethic once they got here, and you never know until they get here. So I think that's a leap of faith on both ends, but at the same time, I think that class especially has fed off each other and just their competitive energy. They're winners, and they want to win and do everything they can to get there.
How do you think the pitching staff has done this season?
I think good, you know. I think that, from January until now, they've just absolutely developed this own identity of what, January you would have asked if they would be here now. I don't think they would have thought that. They've built themselves into this force, and I've just seen people grow up right in front of my eyes. It's been exciting to see. I think we're figuring out how to package them together, and they have fed off each other, which I really love. And they are each other's biggest fans. I think you can see when they're handing off the ball in situations, they're like, you got this, like it's your turn next. And I love to see that from a bullpen because then it becomes not a one-person show, it's really a collective piece. So just proud of their growth throughout the season for sure. And really a tough conference, especially hitting conference.
How hard is it for pitchers to adapt to the way you guys are using them, where they, you're not expected to throw a complete game in most cases? How difficult do you think that is for them?
I think the buy-in happened early because when we practiced in our inner squads, Christian had a very clear vision of how he wanted that to look. I think it's very rare these days in college softball in general to have a 7-inning pitcher, just with how good offenses are. Obviously, you're going to get the one-off that cruises, but I think the buy-in is cool because they can see against a good hitting team how much it matters to mix up looks, and it's really helped us out a lot this year. And when everybody's at the top of their game, as far as the tools that they have, I think we're really hard to beat. So it's just a matter of the buy-in for that, but also them just being ready and ready for the moment.
What do you make of the back-to-back Pac-12 Defensive Player of the Years, Taylor and Skaggs, and just what they mean to the team and their relationship that they have?
I'm so proud of both of them, and I'm just so proud Taylor's getting the recognition that she deserves. She's someone that kind of floats under the radar, and not to us because we get to see her every single day, but I'm just proud of, I'm just excited for other people to see what we get to see every day. And she makes those plays over and over and over again in practice, and you're seeing them come through in games. And it was actually, I have to even say, it was hard, to pick one person because I think our team has had a collective excellent defensive year, and they feed off each other in so many ways that Taylor comes in and she elevates our infield, and outfielders are elevating our outfield, and they want to be just as good as them, and everything just kind of rises. So I think it says a lot about our team as far as just putting so much effort into the defensive side of the ball and not just offensively, because I think that could happen too.
How is Jazz feeling? Because I know she's sort of been in and out and everything. And then what have you seen from her this year? Because her role has changed and she's been able to adjust to this new role and do a good job in it.
Well, she's not available right now. That's been the biggest thing. She's battling some reactions to some medications, but just not feeling like her best self right now. I'm hoping she's a day-to-day, so I'm hoping she's gonna eventually come back. But she's been great as far as, you know, your question about how she's developed, or I'm sorry, into this role. It's like she's in Kai's back pocket and she will be there to do whatever I need as far as shifting them around, and she thinks the game at a high level, and Jazz has always been here too, so she'll never see that affect her. And I know it's probably killing her not to be, you know, in games all the time, but at the same time she's right there in the dugout and having our team's back.
I know she didn't travel last weekend. Is she going to travel?
Yes, she is going, so we are a step in the right direction there.